inactivities, as we captured here from the point of view of GBC in the last 1 year, and on the 6th of January, I personally was in Parliament and I observed a number of the things that had happened. Of course, we are aware that after the elections, it was clear that no party had a clear majority in Parliament. And on the eve of January 6, 2021, the life and activities of the 7th Parliament ended when it was dissolved, and that paved the way for the 8th Parliament to come to life. Now, the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic was then brought to life on the dawn of January 7, 2021, and the new members were sworn into office. But before then, a number of issues that arise in Parliament on that night leading to that dawn. The opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, proposed Honorable Abdul Moomen as their choice candidate for the Speaker of Parliament, while the New Patriotic Party proposed the then incumbent Professor Aaron Michael Quay, who served as Speaker for the 7th Parliament from 2017 until 2021. Of course, so these nominations were done, and we are aware of all the fisticuffs that took place ahead of the election of the Speaker. On the night, the NDC group at the time had arrived in Parliament much earlier than the MPP group, and they had taken the side that usually you would find the majority in the House sitting. When the MPP members elect arrived in Parliament on that night, they didn't take kindly to the fact that their opponents were sitting on the side that they thought they had the majority and therefore had to sit there. Of course, we do know that even before the voting started, ballot boxes were snatched and kicked. Parliamentarians sat on each other's laps, insisting that they had to sit on a particular chair at a given time, and so on. Of course, we do know that the Member of Parliament for Tema West at the time, Honorable Carlos Ahenkra, did the unexpected when he snatched and counted ballot papers in the Speaker of Parliament's election at the time and attempted to bolt with those ballot papers. Of course, he was accosted by some of the NDC members in the House at the time, and that also led to the military storming the Chamber of Parliament for the very first time. Military men came to Parliament, the chamber itself, and attempted to restore. The armed soldiers stormed the Chamber of Parliament following the continued failure of the members of Parliament to elect the Speaker for the 8th Parliament. The soldiers who were numbering, and I was there, I saw it, about 20, emerged in the chamber together with armed policemen to restore calm in the chamber. Some of the MPs elected at the time did not take kindly, especially those on the side of the NDC, to the presence of the military in the chamber on the night. Of course, calm was then restored later on after ups and downs coupled with chaotic scenes in Parliament on that night. Calm was restored and the counting of votes to elect the Speaker went on. At the end of the counting, the former Member of Parliament for Nadoli Kaleu, a member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Honorable Alban Kingsford Sumani Bagbin, was elected as the Speaker of the 8th Parliament. Mr. Bagbin, who was the second Deputy Speaker in the previous Parliament, won the election with 138 votes as against his only contender, Professor Aaron Michael Quay, who polled 136 votes. The House further appointed, or if you like, elected the MP for Bekwai Joseph Osei-Wusu as the first Deputy Speaker. And then we'll be focusing on Honorable Joseph Osei-Wusu and some of his actions in recent times, which also led to some fisticuffs in very recent times as well. Of course, the MP for Formina in the Ashanti region, Honorable Andrew Siama Amoakon, was also elected as the second Deputy Speaker of the 8th Parliament. Of course, in recent times, his name has also popped up relative to some of the fisticuffs. We'll be talking about that pretty shortly. And in recent times, Parliament has had some problems as well, and that followed the budget that was presented to the House of Parliament by the Finance Minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, and the minority side had some concerns relative to the budget statement. Of course, we recall that they had issues that were related to, they wanted the suspension of the e-levy to start with. They wanted the withdrawal of the Ijapa provision made for tidal waves disaster. They asked for proper reconstruction of the wording relating to the Aka energy deal. They wanted a review of the benchmark value for imports, which were the concerns of the minority. Of course, we do know that the budget statement was claimed to have been rejected by the minority side after the majority side of Parliament staged a walkout. And for me as a journalist, that came to me as a surprise, because it was the first time we had recorded the majority side actually walking out of Parliament. The Speaker's seat, of course, the first Deputy Speaker, Honorable Joseph Osei-Wusu, ruling, he was in charge on this particular day. His ruling did not go in favor of the minority. The minority MPs flooded the floor of the House and were joined by the majority side, leading to a chaotic scene where there were some pushing and agitations. In fact, we saw some people attempt to slap others. In the course of this, the NDC MP, who is representing the people of Chairman, grabbed the Speaker's seat to register the minority side's displeasure. The first Deputy Speaker was earlier escorted out of the chamber on that night. The Finance Committee of Parliament approved the e-levy bill despite resistance from the minority caucus, who are on the committee. The bill was approved by voting where there was a tie between the majority and minority, which is 12-12, and the chairman of the committee used his prerogative power to approve the bill. We will talk about all of these happenings in Parliament, but I do not want to take the wind out of the sail of the Speaker of Parliament, who earlier granted me an interview, and I'll sit in the studio and bring you back portions of that interview we did have, and we are currently showing you some of the scenes from Parliament, unfortunate scenes from Parliament. We'll now show the interview. I'll now bring you that interview with the Right Honorable Alban Bagbin, who is the Speaker of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. And first, I asked him if he had learned, after 28 years of being in Parliament, what lessons had he learned, especially within the last 1 year? That was my first question to him, and this was his answer.
The world should expect. I did not expect it myself, but it came as a surprise, as I had rounded up all my activities in a house where I lived for 28 good years, from 7th January 1993 to the 7th of January 2021. I spent almost all